This is episode number 212 of the Homeowner Show. Whether you're DIY or looking to hire, we're here to help you find the best information and options for you and your home. My name is Kevin Hackett, and here with me is Craig Williams.
Hello, and welcome to the Homeowner Show. We're so glad you could join us for another episode of the Homeowner Show here from the studio. How you doing, Kev?
Well, I'm doing fine. I am just really hoping that, contrary to what happened to the entire last episode, that the fly stays away. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't know what everybody else who's listening to this is hoping happens in this episode, but that one was annoying.
You're a dreamer.
I think it's probably still here.
I like that about you.
That's what people say about me.
Dream the impossible dream.
You're the dreamer. People have said that all my life.
So
dream on, Kevin. That's what I actually heard all my life.
Well, let me tell you a little something about the show, Kev.
Tell me.
Because we're dreamers here too.
Okay.
And we dreamed of a world that involved a better home improvement show. Because let me tell you, there's a lot of crap out there.
There's no doubt.
And it seems like a lot of these streaming services are just willing to pump it out. Mm-hmm. I think it's this new series on Netflix. It's like Home Makeover in 24 Hours.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that?
I've not watched it, but I know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me just put this out there. I don't blame the people who are starring in these shows.
Yeah.
Because like, look, if Netflix came to us and like was like, hey, we'd love to do like a series or something like that, we'd probably have the conversation.
Yeah.
We'd probably end up doing the show.
Probably.
But the problem with these DIY networks, HGTV, whatever it is, like they prop up this easy to do home improvement crap.
That's completely unrealistic.
Yes. And it's like look, and like if you actually just do like a minute of research, you will find out that most of the people who receive the quote unquote benefits of these shows are woefully unsatisfied.
Oh yeah.
In the long run.
Oh yeah.
With the results.
Yes.
And so like it's just putting out there this unrealistic expectation, not just for the homeowner who's like, well, why shouldn't I expect it to be done in 24 hours? But like it's putting the squeeze on contractors and professionals who provide services for these homes, who when they come to these people and they say like, look, this project's going to take a month.
Right.
And they're like, what? So I just watched on Netflix last night in 30 minutes and they said they did it in 24 hours.
Right. And
it's like, yeah, but it was a crap job.
Oh yeah.
And like, good luck if your foot doesn't fall through the floor.
Right.
In the first week. And so that was one of the reasons that we even started this show, was to actually introduce people to real professionals who aren't willing to just throw pie in the sky,
right?
But give you real expectations and real data and actual job experience that says something like, hey, like this is the result that you want. This kind of the kind of product that you're wanting to end up with at the end of this job is something that takes care and time and consideration.
Right.
And none of those things happen fast.
No.
And none of those things are cheap. And the reality of owning a home is that it's expensive.
It is. I mean,
if
every turn, something else is happening.
And it never goes the way that you think it's going to go. It's never going to go exactly according to plan.
No.
It just doesn't, because every home is different. It's a different moron built each and every single one of them.
Yeah.
And that look, I'm not talking down on people that build homes. I'm not.
Sure.
But like, nobody's perfect.
No.
And so there's going to be mistakes in every single home.
And over time, those mistakes compound.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not a mistake that the homeowner, that the home builder made. Maybe someone else came in and did a renovation job.
Right.
Or, they decided, you know what, we're just gonna put new flooring over top of the old flooring.
Right.
And it's like, well, I can't fix stupid,
Sure.
you know?
And look, this is a conversation I have with people all the time. It's like they will say like, "Why are there ants in my home?" And like, look, I can't control that Johnny, when he was doing the insulation in the attic, didn't drop a bag of Cheetos into the wall void.
Sure.
Like, I don't know.
He probably did.
But like, I can't tell you the number of bags of chips that I've found in an attic full of ants.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, well, did you leave this here? No, I didn't leave this here. Well, somebody left it here.
Somebody did.
And I don't know who it was, but you're telling me it wasn't you. And so I can only assume it's one of the 10 contractors that was in here before trying to knock out a job in a timely manner and decided to have lunch right there.
Right there. Yep. I'm sure. I mean, that kind of stuff happens all the time.
All the time.
Yep.
And so, like, when you tell me, like, we're going to knock this job out in 24 hours, get out of my house.
Right. Exactly.
I don't want you here because inevitably you're going to do a crappy job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, it just irritates me to no end when I see these, like, these are the kind of programs that are being promoted as, like, you need to watch this.
Yeah.
Because this can actually happen.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And they can cause the house to cave in on itself.
Yeah.
Like what kind of mistakes can you make
Right.
on a home when you're trying to do a full kitchen renovation in 24 hours?
About a million.
You can't even let the caulk dry.
No.
I mean,
No, and that's the thing. Not only that, really good, like homes and renovation projects that are done really well, are either done by a general contractor who is so well aware of all of his subs and all the ways that things need to happen on time that you wouldn't have enough opportunity for that person to communicate to all the different people about what needs to happen in that amount of time, or it's done by a person
right.
who is kind of a jack of all trades, does all the things, been doing it for years, methodical, skilled, and he can't do it in a day
Right.
by himself.
Yeah.
And so either one of those two things, either one of those two scenarios do not happen in that amount of time. They just don't.
No, it just can't. I mean, I don't care how big of a crew you have. It's just not going to,
And
it's not going to be done well.
I think in some ways, the bigger crew makes it worse because nobody's communicating with anybody.
Yeah.
You got like 15 people in a room all doing it the way they want to, and good luck.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
The way that they
makes
think
me
is
mad.
best.
Yeah.
Which just, it creates conflict with the way that other people are doing things.
Exactly.
So anyway, we're here to talk about the top 5 fastest growing cities in the United States. And we initially were getting the data from Wallet Hub, which has been entertaining up until this point. But the
You mean laughable?
yeah.
Okay.
The most recent data from them on this particular topic came from 2020.
Yeah, it's too outdated.
And so it wasn't good. So we flipped over to Rocket Mortgage, who had an article from September 5, and it's currently, September the 8th?
That's when we're recording this show.
We're recording this September the 8th?
The 8th. So by the time this show comes out, I don't know, it's probably a couple weeks old.
And so we saw drastic differences between the lists, and we're like, well, this seems way more accurate based off what we're seeing in the marketplace right now. So let's go ahead and kick it off with number 5, and actually one of my favorite cities here in Texas, New Braunfels.
Yeah, it's a great place,
dude. It is so pretty.
It's beautiful. They've got, they've got a massive, river running through it, and
would it surprise you to know that the population in New Braunfels is under 100,000?
It wouldn't, simply because of the rate that it is currently. Because it is far enough away from San Antonio that it's a drive.
Sure.
It used to be, at least.
Is it like an hour?
No.
Not even an hour?
No. Probably 25, 30 minutes.
Okay.
I think. But the thing is, it's far enough away for a while, but it's like now that's not the case.
Okay.
Like there's stuff constant, right? It's almost like a suburb. But I don't know. I think that people always went to New Braunfels, but didn't necessarily want to live there. Now
they want to live there.
People are wanting to live there because it is everything, and it's got Schlitterbahn.
Schlitterbahn, but Schlitterbahn is cool. Don't get me wrong. And it is a cool water park.
Yeah.
But the big attractions in the city for me are the Comal and the Guadalupe.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And
Guadalupe.
I would venture to say that more than double the population of the city flock to this city annually just to float those rivers.
Yep. Oh yeah. And Green Hall's there.
And Green Hall.
I mean, that's a historic place.
It is a historic place, and it's like it's just a pretty place. I mean, like if you've never been, like New Braunfels is just a pretty town,
and it's like what's nice about it too is it's pretty accessible in that. I mean, it's fairly central to the state of Texas. I mean, it's
like if you live here, you know about New Braunfels.
Yeah,
like. People here in Houston, it's like, hey, let's go to New Braunfels for the weekend.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, and so it's a destination spot for sure. So it's to us, it's not surprising. Here's what I think a lot of people want to know. One, the median household income in the city is about $71,000,
right?
Which isn't that high.
No.
And the median home sale price as of the writing of this article is $360,000.
And honestly, that's not that much either.
No, it's not.
I mean, that is very, I mean, this is an average, right?
Right.
This is kind of that medium number.
So I don't think you're going to be getting Riverfront for that price.
But Riverfront is included in that, which means there's quite a few homes that are less expensive than that.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, quite a bit. So I mean, it's a very accessible,
yeah.
And close enough to a fairly large metropolitan city that you're not going to be lacking for anything.
No. Well, and this will tell you how bad, how badly out of date that other list was. Is since July of 2020, it has grown almost 10%.
Right.
So that's a lot.
It is a lot. For a city that size, that's a lot of people.
Right. It is.
All right. So number 4.
Number 4 is Buckeye, Arizona.
Which I don't know anything about.
I don't
other than
know.
it's
I don't
in
either.
I know Maricopa County.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a suburb of Phoenix,
Right.
So, a lot of these places are going to be suburbs that people are what used to be called a bedroom community, right? People just lived there, slept there, but commuted into the city. Now, what you see happening is more and more people that are working remote, they can live in these cities and never have to really commute, or maybe they have to commute one day a week, or maybe a couple of days every other week or something like that, just to kind of check on things, check in. And so they can live in these places and thoroughly enjoy being there, you know? And so I assume, we don't live in Arizona. We don't know that much about it, but I would assume it's a similar type of deal. But yeah, just over 100,000, 101,000.
Yeah, not terribly huge, but like you said, a suburb of Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to talk about their median household income?
Yeah, so I mean it's very similar to New Braunfels. It's around 79,000. Where it changes is the median home price is around 420.
Yeah, and again,
that's a pretty significant jump.
It's a significant jump for the median household income being the same,
right?
Roughly the same, at least. Because you wind up going, okay, well that changes my ability to buy a home,
right?
Really.
Well, and again, that's the whole reason we're even talking about these lists of cities is because there's going to be different factors that families integrate into their decision making when they decide to move.
Exactly.
And so many different people have different options as to where they can live because remote working is a thing now.
Yeah.
And so, while, Buckeye might seem like a good place because of its, close proximity to Phoenix, you could go, okay, so the household median income is only, $7,000 more than New Braunfels, but the average home price is almost $100,000 less.
Yeah.
And so like maybe New Braunfels, it has, less people, cheaper housing, and, better recreation. Well, that could be a contributing factor. But,
Sure.
you could be looking at Buckeye and go, well, like, Buckeye is closer to an airport.
Mm-hmm.
I like Phoenix better than I do San Antonio.
Right.
And for whatever reason, you might just be looking at that going, okay, like 400, $500,000 doesn't sound like that much for a house to me.
No.
And I like the climate better in
Yeah.
Buckeye. That may be worth it for you.
Maybe.
Um,
Absolutely.
So, and that's the whole point of even doing these reports, is to give you guys the information to kind of make some decisions as to where you might want to, put your family moving forward.
Absolutely.
So number 3 is another Arizona, which is Queen Creek.
Yeah.
Queen Creek, Arizona.
So what you're going to notice here is that there's only 2 states represented
In the top 5.
in the top 5.
And so if you have any sort of deductive reasoning in your brain, you can figure out what state the other ones are going to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. Either Texas or Arizona. It just
Yeah.
is what it is. But it's really interesting. We're still not too far from Phoenix
No.
on this one.
It's the same county.
It's same county.
Well, I mean, it shares a county line, so it's Maricopa and Pinal
Right.
County. I hope I'm pronouncing it Pinal. Who knows?
In all. I don't know.
Pinal sounds better. So if it's not Pinal, maybe you should change it.
Because people are going to say what they're going to say.
That's right.
Because other people are going to call it penal. So, and I don't think that's right.
You shouldn't want that.
I wouldn't think so.
So I will say that it does look. I mean, like,
It's in the mountains.
yeah, it looks pretty.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. I mean,
It kind of has like that desert vibe, but it also looks like it has some water
yep.
moving through there.
And they've got a couple of things really going for them. First of all, it's still on the lower side of population.
Yeah.
Mid 60s,
Yeah.
60,000, 66,000 is its population. But the income,
It's still more than 10, so.
that's true. You make a really good point there, Craig. But the median income's over $100,000.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Almost $105,000 per year. Now, the home sale price really reflects that as well.
Yeah.
Right? Median's up there almost
650.
650,000. That's a significant jump from.
Yeah, they're proud of it.
Yeah, they're proud of it. But, again, you start making over $100,000, and a lot of these places, families nowadays, so many of them have 2-income households.
Sure.
And so, if you're
Well, but that is the household income, median household.
Oh,
That's combined income.
sure, but still, that's a decent household income.
Oh yeah,
not bad.
Don't get me wrong.
But I'll tell you this: at $105,000, you're gonna have a hard time paying for a $650,000 house.
Yes.
You're gonna have some other homes that you have invested in before.
Yes.
Probably rolling in some equity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
All right. So moving on to number 2, and not only are the last 2 going to be in Texas. Let's just go ahead and pull that Band-Aid off.
yep.
But they're actually going to be from the same area.
And this is not shocking to me at all.
Uh-huh.
Because everybody from California is flocking to Austin.
Flocking to Austin.
Which
so
is
it
near
makes
where
sense
these are.
that like 2 suburbs of Austin are going to take the top 2 spots.
That's right.
So the number 2 is going to be Leander.
Yep.
It's the second fastest growing in the U.S. Yeah. So I mean, and part of this is that there's continues to be business after business after business
Exactly.
that moves into this
Exactly.
area, and cities like this that are in suburbs of Austin are taking advantage of this opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to go like, look, we want to create incentives to have businesses move into our areas, to
Right.
create jobs, to create more wealth, to create more revenue for the city.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this to me is so the last 3 that we talked about, the increase that they're experiencing is in the 8% range, between 8 and 9%. This one jumps up over 10%.
Over 10, yeah.
And so the rate that this city is growing is really shocking, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Which, I mean, their population is not that big anyway.
no, it's not. You're 67,000 people.
Yeah.
It's not that much.
And like, I mean, at least compared to the last city, $200,000 less, just, in the neighborhood, $200,000 less median home sale price.
Media homes. Yeah, so you've got plus it says the average household income is $2,000 more.
Right.
So it's 106,000.
So you're making more money,
making
and
more
you're paying
money.
less for the real estate.
I mean, why would you not want to live there?
Yeah.
And guess what? Look, Austin is beautiful.
Yeah.
The Austin area has
I mean, just look at
it's in the
pictures
hill
of
country.
Leander. It's a pretty place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a pretty place. The area is really, really nice.
Yeah. And so then taking the number 1 spot, Georgetown, Texas.
Georgetown.
Which,
That's it.
I mean, not surprising to
No.
me. Georgetown's a super cool place.
Right.
Again,
10.5% increase.
yeah, that's crazy.
That is y'all.
So, like, let me put this in perspective. 2 years ago, the city that we live in was the fastest growing city in the United States.
Right.
And it was experiencing about 8% growth
Yeah.
year over year.
Right.
Georgetown, 10.5.
Yeah.
That's
So what
nuts, insane.
Right. So what you got to realize, and that number is in a year span. Okay, from July 2020 to July 2021. Okay, and they compile the data. Blah 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 blah. All right. So in a year, they've got 75,000 people that live there currently. In a year, they had 7,500 people move in there.
Yeah,
It's a lot of people.
it's a lot of people. So but like here's the number that I'm a little bit baffled by. They have a 95.5% graduation rate.
That number makes me happy.
That
is
that
so
number
good.
right there tells you everything you need to know about what kind of a community that you're living in when you go to a place like Georgetown.
Yep,
I mean that's impressive.
it is.
I mean I don't care what kind of a community you live in. I think a lot of people might look at that and go, well, like what's the racial demographic? I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Like 95.5% is crazy.
That's high. That's super high. And some of the information we're reading here says that it's a 5% above average
for the state.
for the rest of the state.
Right.
That and I'll tell you right now,
at 5% higher, 90%
it's
is
great,
pretty high.
pretty high.
When you look at it across the entire country,
Right. Oh, well,
90%. 90% is really high.
it's really high. Texas has some of the best school systems in all of America. Whenever you start looking at ratings, we're consistently in the top, the top 4 or 5 for sure.
Sure.
And so, we're gonna have higher graduation rates because of some of that, but 95%, that's massive. So what's interesting is it says here that if this trend continues, that in 7 years they'll double their size.
That's crazy.
That is like the problem that I see with that is infrastructure and like jobs and so many things. Like you doubling in 7 years. I mean, I don't think that Tron is going to be finished being built at Disney World in 7 years. How is Georgetown going to handle that much change? And I'm sure that they're going to figure it out. But
part of it is
like,
their proximity to Austin.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But like I remember when I lived in McKinney, Texas in 2004 to 2007, and it was at the time, and it still is one of the fastest growing. If you look at this, some of these,
Yeah, it makes the
lists,
list.
It's still pretty high. But at the time, it was one of the fastest growing, right behind Frisco. And I'll tell you right now, like they couldn't handle the growth. They just couldn't. I mean, they were doing construction on every street, around every corner, and getting anywhere was a nightmare because there was so much construction, so much stuff. And honestly, the city planners had it out for themselves trying to, figure out what they were going to do. And so doubling in 7 years, that's a lot of growth.
Yeah.
So their population, 75, I already mentioned that. Median household income, not that high.
Yeah.
77,000. And the home sale price, though, 442. So, yeah.
So, and let me tell you this, in the entire top 15, and I'm only mentioning this because I think we talked about it last episode. In the top 15, there are only, let me make sure I'm seeing this right. 1, 2, 3. There are only 3 other states mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay, one being Florida, which has one city, and the other one being Tennessee, which is Spring Hill, which is just outside of Nashville, which
Yep.
we've talked about before.
Yep.
3 of the other cities are all in Idaho
Right.
that I was mentioning before.
Uh-huh.
I think it's going to be like the big landing place
Yeah,
in the
you
West.
know, it's one of those deals where like a lot of people said for a long time that like Nashville was this, hidden gem. It's not hidden anymore.
No,
People are aware. I think you're right. I think there are going to be these places in Idaho where people are going, nope, no longer a hidden gem. It is a known gem.
yeah.
and I want to live there.
Well, let me tell you this. Like, let's see that one. Let me see what's the next one. Is it that one? Okay, so it has 2 of them have median home prices sub 300,000.
Jeez. That's
Now, I mean, like the median household income isn't that high,
no.
but still, the median home list price around 250.
Yeah.
So, and that tells you everything you need to know about why people are going there.
Yep.
So it's pretty, it's cheap.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about the state tax structure in Idaho. I probably need to look into that, just to see if
Before
there's,
you move there.
well, just to see if there's any incentives that I'm not aware of.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, because I'm pretty familiar with ones in Texas and Tennessee. I know a little bit about the ones in Arizona. Arizona is a very real estate friendly state.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I would imagine Idaho's very similar.
Yeah. But interesting list. There's the last episode that we did on,
Happiness?
the happiest places in the United States. Like, it's so subjective, man.
Yeah.
And it's one of those deals where I look at it and go, let's say that the 4 out of the 5 California places were legitimately that.
Right.
How do you know? Right? I don't know how you know.
But here's the thing. Here's my problem with that list is people vote with their feet.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sorry, like it's a difficult argument to make with me when you like, no, this is the happiest place. Like, why is everybody leaving?
Right.
Why is everybody leaving?
Right.
Everybody's leaving.
Exactly.
They can't be happy.
And where are they going? And this is what makes this list, in my opinion, so good, is because it's not objective. It's not subjective. It's very objective.
Yeah.
And, you can take numbers and put increases on them and see the difference. And
that's the thing, man, is like people are willing to take known quantities and give them up for an unknown quantity.
Sure.
Which again tells me like they can't be that happy.
Yeah.
If they're willing to like, and people will not just on a whim give up what they know.
No.
Even if what they know is sad and miserable,
Right.
they are less likely to give it up for an unknown. And so for them to, mass exodus out of a place, like it just tells you something
Right.
about what it's like for them psychologically there. Like they can't be happy.
No.
So, and then most people aren't as brave as most other people. So the ones that are leaving are the ones who are just willing to take the risk. Everyone else is just content with the unhappiness.
Right.
And it's less risky than the potential happiness.
Yep.
Which is weird to me. But
Yeah.
I do understand that is the way that most people think. Like I understand that that's how they are. I don't understand why they are that way.
Yeah.
But it is just the way of the world, man.
Yep.
Risk is a dangerous thing for some people,
Mm-hmm.
even if it means, I think that's the fear is like I'm unhappy now.
What if I'm more unhappy?
I could be more unhappy.
Yeah.
Like like everyone else is telling me that like this is the best place in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the whole adage of like you got to spend money to make money.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, but I'm too fearful to do that.
But I have this money.
Yeah, but I have this money, and it's a fear-based problem, right? And at some point, in order for circumstances to change, you got to kind of go, well, my fear is not worth what I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
Right? I gotta make a leap,
Yeah.
and that's hard. So,
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I think the reality is that things have to get really, really bad
oh yeah,
in order for most people to change
yeah,
what is normal.
I agree. Yep. And even then, like whenever things get really bad, you're in a tailspin. And you don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So it makes it worse.
But you see this in impoverished cities and in cities that have just become dilapidated, is you see that psychology play out in that most people just aren't willing to make a move in order to improve their circumstances.
Right.
You know, they are more content with the misery that they know.
Right.
Rather than the potential happiness, because potential happiness is risky.
Yep.
And it may not happen.
Yep.
And so they're more content to live with the suffering that they do know.
Yeah, and so like an example of that, we're talking about cities here. One of the places that is bizarre to me is Camden, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
So Camden, New Jersey, for years and years, I don't know if it is today, but for years and years was the capital of crime. It had the highest crime rate in all of the United States. So much so that they abandoned even having a police force.
Oh, wow.
They have no city structure. They have no police force, no fire prevention.
Yeah.
They have no ambulance services. They have no trash services.
Oh my gosh.
So like literally, it's kind of there on the border, right across the river from Philadelphia, and it like you drive through this place and tons of homelessness.
It's like a parent who just gets tired of that one messy kid.
That's right.
It's like, you want it messy?
Deal with it.
Great.
That's exactly right. And
Live with the rats and the
that's
cockroaches.
right. I mean, there's
how you like it.
There's trash everywhere. There's crime everywhere because eventually it's like the wheels are off.
Yeah.
The wheels are off, and I don't know what to do with it.
Nobody's driving this bus. We're all just kidding each other.
That's right. That's that Seinfeld episode, right? You kept making the stops. People kept ringing the bell.
Kept ringing the bell.
So good. Oh, man. What else, Craig?
I think that's it, man.
All right. Well, thank you
With the cherry on top of that sundae.
We're done. Thank you for downloading today's episode. We very much appreciate it. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click that like button, the subscribe button, and head over to Apple Podcast. I got it right this time. And leave us a rating and a review. We would really, really appreciate it. And tell your friends about us. It's a fun show.
Yeah.
They want to listen to. So anyway, we're here each and every Tuesday. So until next time, we'll see you later.